Hey folks, this is your Chief Matador, Ivory Torin here. Welcome to, I guess you could say, an opinion video here because I have some opinions about the Wuthering Waves 3.1 quest and the fallout that seems to be following it based on some things some content creators have stated. Here, I will emphasize that this is just my opinion. You don't have to accept it. I just ask that you respect it here. So, as far as the Wuthering Waves 3.1 quest is concerned, the story in the quest, it's the best story WuWa has told to date. And before I said this was the best, I honestly thought that Cantarella's story, Companion Quest, was the best because it showed her in a different light. It showed her how she became to be, how, what her thoughts were on, the way the Pasalia family was and that she needed to change it. And I felt it was, it was very raw about it too, and it explains how she basically came to be, and I thought it was a lot better than than the 2.4 story quest, uh, in my opinion. But here now, 3.1 blows this out of the water, hands down. I have to say that this is the best storytelling I have seen in a gacha game since I started playing gacha games 6 years ago. And I started with Genshin Impact, went to Star Rail, and now with WuWa, as WuWa's the only gacha game I play now. But just in the terms of not even just gacha games, just games, this is the best storytelling I have seen in a game in the last 6 years. And I have, played other games, God of War, Call of Duty. What else? There's been a few others. Ghost Recon, Genshin, like I mentioned before, Star Rail, like I mentioned before, and those are more story focused games. Star Rail more than any others, but this quest was very emotional, very raw, and I'm in the story as a character, just allowing her to go through all those emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, confusion. Just so she's allowed to let all that out during the course of the quest. And Rover being the father figure and basically adopting her as a daughter, uh, he adopted her as a daughter and, basically told her during the course of the quest that she's allowed to feel. She's not allowed, I mean, you don't have to smile all the time. Everything is not happy. Some things are sad, and it's perfectly fine to let that out. And Imeth letting that out over the course of the quest was just fantastic, and it was very moving, very touching, and it was fantastic to see here. Just to allow Rover to have these moments too as well. Going back to 2.5, where, Prolova was basically questioning she called him out on his ideology. Now, Rover learning more about himself, about, how he feels about things, his approach to these crises. Oh, excuse me, crises. I should say, excuse me, plural, that has been going on. And it it just was fantastic all around, and I really enjoyed it. I couldn't comment a lot during the quest because my mic was messed up. My mic had messed up over the course of the stream, so I didn't want to restart the stream, so I figured I might as well just not say nothing and let the quest just play out. But it was fantastic. It really was. Now, to the Fallout part of this, there have been some comments that were made by certain creators, and I was sent the links to these. I didn't wind up viewing them. I just sent the links were sent to me by some uh, people in my community that I served with in the military, and they felt I needed to hear these things. So there were certain creators calling people fatherless and saying kids were ungrateful for the sacrifices and the work that their parents do, and that they'll never understand it, and was basically banning people from their chat, who had a different opinion than that. Look, everyone is entitled to say what they want to, entitled to an opinion. Doesn't mean that we have to accept it. We can respect it, but not accept it. So, if that's their stance, that's fine. I was fatherless. I will admit it. My father was not around. My mother wasn't even around here. I basically grew up, in foster care here in New York City, because that's where I am. I'm in New York. But I had figures around me that basically took the place of those parents. Me and my mom have a good relationship now, and I understand the sacrifices that she made, which resulted in me not living with her for the majority of my life. And I understand the sacrifices she made behind that. And so I don't regret that. I don't bash her for it. I'm not ashamed of it. She felt those were decisions she had to make at that time, and that's perfectly fine with me. I've understood that. I've accepted it. Now, as I've gotten older, because I'm almost 50, I have my own kids, and I understand the sacrifices parents make. And it takes time for that. And for certain creators to just come out and basically, one, laugh at Imet's pain, and not understanding her position in the story, and was laughing at the saddest parts of the story, and on top of that, basically stating that kids are going to be completely ungrateful for the rest of their lives about the sacrifices and work that their parents put in, is just completely uncalled for. Whoever said it has a right to their opinion. That's perfectly okay. They have a right to it. That's fine. I don't accept it. I can respect it without accepting it, and that's perfectly okay too. I think, and I feel both that parents will understand things later on. Kids will understand, things later on that their parents made a lot of choices and sacrifices for their children's happiness rather than their own. And that's perfectly okay. You know, for certain content creators and certain streamers or whoever says it, if you have children of your own, you should understand that better than anyone. So for these people to say that, hey, you know, because you're fatherless, you're a messed up person, or kids are going to be entirely ungrateful for the work that their parents do, and that's always going to be the case, is just not true. And, you know, I hope that, you know, the people that say these things, that they reflect on the words that they say, especially if, you know, they have a larger community, that, you know, they have a larger platform to be able to say these things. And that's, you know, perfectly okay. And it's basically, how should I word it? I think it's kind of disrespectful, to be honest with you, to have people say these things and not understand the position that certain people are in that can relate more to this story than anything else. And it's being out of touch, especially if they grew up in the same situation. So my thought is that you can respect the opinion without accepting it, and I don't accept it, but understanding that they have a platform that's their thoughts on it, and, you know, sure, people may not want to hear the opinion of basically a no-name, you know, streamer like me, and that's fine. You know, you're welcome to click off the video, and that's perfectly okay. But I basically think and feel that if you can understand the relationship between, you know, Rover and Imeth, and you can relate that into your own life, that's not a bad thing. But the realism in this story was fantastic. And to have people basically trounce on that, or basically get mad because she hugged Rover. What? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like I said, so it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why people are simping on this. You know, getting mad at the fact that Imeth hugged Rover. That's not a bad thing. You know, she looks at him as a father figure. She has every right to do that. So I just don't understand, you know, the thoughts of some people in the community sometimes. I really don't. And maybe it's because I'm almost 50 and, you know, people might look at it as an old man get off my lawn kind of thing, which I don't understand how being in your 40s is old, but whatever. Anyways, I hope that even if you don't play Wuthering Waves, okay, as a game, that you at least look at this story. You view this story, whether it's on my channel, whether it's on another channel, whether it's, you know, on whatever platform that you're on, that you look at this story and don't skip it either. Don't skip parts of it. Go through the whole thing from beginning to end And then you can see where a lot of people are saying how they can relate to this exact situation. And that's, and if you go through the whole thing and you can't relate to it, that's perfectly okay too. But I encourage people to go through the story, watch it, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on TikTok, whether you Discord, whatever platform you choose to view it on, is perfectly okay. Now, is perfectly okay. So I hope that, people take away from it some kind of understanding how what Ima's position is, what Rover's position is, and Rover now understanding more his place in the world. His place in the world. Ima's already understood hers, but it was just a fantastic story, just raw, and it was remarkable. And Ima as a character in her place in the story was fantastic. Whether or not you like her as a playable character, I'll put it that way. Her play style, that's something different, but her place in the story is fantastic, and that's not going to be downplayed. I don't think that should be downplayed on any level by anyone here. But I understand their opinions, and that's perfectly fine. I just don't accept them. They have a right to speak whatever they speak, but I hope Kuro Games continues like this, with stories like this, because the realism of it is fantastic, and I don't think that should be downplayed on any level. Now, if you like the video, please give a like to it. I appreciate any input you have on it. This is the first video I've kind of made like this in a while. Usually I just make like short ones based on the trailers and stuff like that, but this is the first time I've done a video like this. So I appreciate any, input you have on it. The video that's playing is actually from the actual live stream, as you can see. But feel free to comment on it. Give me your thoughts. If you're in this if you have this kind of relationship with a parental figure, please express that. Express that as well. And, I appreciate any perspective as long as it's respectful. You can, like I said, you can respect the opinion without accepting it, and that's fine. But yeah, please feel free to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. You can catch the live streams on twitch.tv/IvoryTorian. I'm also on Kick. I'm also on beamstream.gg under the same name. And I really hope that, people take a lot away from this story as well. But because it was a fantastic story. But hope to see you guys again in the future. Hopefully I'll be able to make more videos like this. But I just felt I needed to say something. I have a tiny platform on my corner of the internet. I'll put it that way. And I felt it was just something that needed to be said. So I hope you guys stay safe. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.